teeth. The trap was slippery with his blood, and I dropped it back onto the ground. He lunged against the trap, desperate and screeching, but it held him, the metal jaws biting deeper and deeper down to the bone. The wolf grew more frantic with each passing second, and I started digging, tearing into the dirt around the stake and chain connected to those ugly metal jaws. The stake loosened. The wolf gave one last desperate yank and pulled it free. For an instant, joy and triumph filled me up. He leapt toward me in a blur of white, the trap and chain rattling behind him, and slammed into me with the force of an avalanche. Everything was all at once falling and fear, an impossible weight, darkness, and blinding, earth-shattering pain. The weight lifted, but something wet and awful was smeared across my eyes, and the world was distorted and bleared. It frightened me even more than the darkness had. Pain pulsed through me, lines of raging fire in my chest, my shoulders, my face. Someone was screaming, and I realized it was me. I must have fainted, because when I opened my eyes again, my father was kneeling over me, his form warped and strange. The light was fading orange, and birds were singing in the wood. I was dizzy, my face and chest strangely numb. One of my eyes was swollen shut. Bits of rock and dirt had ground into my palms and behind my fingernails when I dug the stake from the ground. In that moment, it was the only pain I could feel.
"Let's carry her inside,"
I heard someone say.
"She'll be all right, Peter. She's strong."
Peter was my father. The other voice belonged to Old Man Tinker. He must have come to check his traps and found me there instead. My father scooped me into his arms, and I passed out again. The next time I tried to open my eyes, there was only darkness, and something thick and suffocating pressed against my face. "Papa!" I screamed. "Papa!" I jerked upright and fell in a tangle to the floor, and then my father was there, coaxing me back into bed, calming me down.
"Just bandages, little bird. We'll take them off soon. Hush now. All is well."
I clung to him, and he kissed me quietly on the forehead and sang me to sleep. Later, I don't know how much, they removed the bandage from my right eye. It gave me an oddly skewed view of the world, but it was better than no sight at all. We lived in a house back then, and I sat for many weeks in my room on the 3rd floor, watching through my little square window as the world below turned from the green and gold of summer to the red-brown blush of autumn. A host of doctors visited me, and I didn't understand why. I crept downstairs and listened shamelessly outside the door to my father's study while they talked about me. I heard things like, "never fully heal," and "the cuts were too deep," and "infection," and "lucky if she isn't blind." And then one day, as the first of the winter snows blew soft across our village, the doctor came to take the bandage off the left side of my face. My father watched intently as the doctor peeled the cloth away, and I held my breath and waited for it to be over. Horror and shock flashed across my father's features, and for the first time, I realized what had happened to me might not be able to be undone.
"Cover your right eye," the doctor instructed. "Can you see out of the left one?"
I lifted my hand and obeyed. The light was very bright, but I could see. I nodded. The doctor let out a breath of relief. My father shifted where he stood. The horror had left his expression, melding into a distance that unnerved me.
"Is there anything you recommend for—"
He trailed off, looking helplessly at the physician.